Hello folks, this video is a little different to my usual tutorials, but I know that some people like to see the behind the scenes analytics, so I figured now that the channel has been monetized for about a month, I could go through and show some of this data to you guys. So this here is the main YouTube analytics page, and this shows some of the main statistics just at a glance. I won't go through all of it, but I'll cover the more interesting stuff. So the first thing that it shows is the number of views, and this is over the last 28 days. So you can see the channel's had 62,000 views, and although there are some spikes and troughs throughout, overall it's been pretty steady and averaging around 2,000 views a day. And I think that is probably a result of just the fact that I've put out videos fairly consistently. Every 2 or 3 days I've uploaded something. So I think that's what's kind of kept the video views consistent. The interesting thing though is when I come down here, you can see the top 10 videos, and so overall the channel's had 60,000 views. Well, number one video has had 28,000 of those views. So after that, you see it drops off quite a bit. So I don't know what I did differently in this video or in that tutorial series, but that one seems to be contributing quite a disproportionate amount of views compared to the rest of the videos. The next tab is watch time, and to be honest, this is one that's a bit more, or I pay a bit more attention to compared to views, or I put a bit more value into, I think, because you could be in a situation where you are getting views and people are clicking on your videos, but they're not actually sticking around to watch much of it. And I think this gives some quick feedback to whether that's the case or not. Now, my videos, they're quite long because they're tutorial videos, so I have to go into quite a bit of detail. And so this watch time for me, it's continued to grow over time. It's slowed down a bit now, and it's kind of a steady, say, 100 hours a day. But it gives me pretty good feedback that the videos are decent and people are actually watching them and getting some value out of them. So it encourages me to continue making more of them. So the next tab is the subscribers tab. And within here, I've got a very jaggy line that doesn't really have any kind of pattern, but it averages out to something like 25 subscribers a day. So over the last month, that's totaled up to 726 extra subscribers. And when I hover over this, it actually shows the comparison between this month and the previous month. So it does show that it's grown a little bit, but I think compared to the other stats, yeah, so that one's 31%, 24%, the subscriber count isn't really growing that fast anymore. So if you want to help that by subscribing, that would be absolutely fine. Now, I'll come back to the rest of these tabs in a second, but I'll go through some of these other ones at the top first. Now, reach shows the number of impressions that the channel has. An impression basically is any time a thumbnail is shown on YouTube. So if you search for something and it comes up in the search results, or if you're on the home page, or if you're watching a video and you've got thumbnails on the right, those are all impressions. So the channel's had about 500,000 impressions over the last month. The click-through rate shows how often people actually click on those thumbnails. And then out of that, there's this little funnel that basically shows how those impressions get converted into views, and then from the views, how much of that people are watching and what watch time you get. So it's a pretty handy snapshot just to see what's going on in the background. The rest of the stuff isn't all that interesting, so I'm just going to leave that out. The engagement tab doesn't really show too much more than what we already looked at. So the watch time is the main one. The average view duration doesn't really matter that much, simply because it kind of depends on the length of the videos that you're uploading. Mine tend to be on the longer side anyway, so 3 minutes, I don't know how that stands, but it's been pretty steady overall. The interesting thing here though, this kind of shows this a graph for each video of where people are still watching, or how many people are still watching as a percentage. So videos like this one, which is just a demo where it's not a tutorial, it's just a gameplay demo of a game that I'd made, you can see that people kind of watch it and then slowly start to click away from the video. But if I go to one of my tutorial videos, there's just a complete nosedive right at the start, and then it continues with the rest of the video. I think that is probably normal because that's happened for pretty much every one of these videos. And I guess that's just because people aren't sitting watching the entire 40 minutes of a video. They'll be going on to it, they'll be looking for the particular information they want, and then they're done. And that's the whole point of these tutorials, so that's totally fine. So the next tab over is audience. And this little section down here shows where my viewers are from. So if I expand this out, it gives me a full list, and you can see that the highest number of viewers is from India with 9,000, and the second highest is the States with just under that. So actually they're more or less the same amount, but those two combined make up nearly 29% of the total views for my channel. And then after that, UK, Germany, Canada, and you can kind of see as you go down the list, what I quite like is just how many different countries you guys are watching these videos from. Pretty much from all over the world. You got Switzerland, Uzbekistan, Japan, Israel, Serbia. So I think that's pretty cool information that you can get from these YouTube analytics. So the next bit I wanted to have a look at was the age and gender split. And this shows as a percentage how many of my viewers are male and how many are female. And I was actually a bit surprised by this, but 90% of the viewers are male or just under 90, and only 10% are female. The age split was a little bit more as expected, with 18 to 24 being just under half of my overall viewers. And then it kind of tapers off as it goes into higher age groups. But what I really like is seeing these percentages here for 55 and even 65 and over. So that's pretty cool that, well, all ages pretty much are watching these videos and getting something useful out of them. So the last tab that I want to look at is the revenue tab. So you can see here that over the last month, the channel has generated a grand total of £88.74p. And if you hadn't already guessed where I was based, pound sign gives it away. So the channel got monetized, I think it was the 16th of February. So there's about a week's worth of data that's missing at the start here, but it wasn't really any different to what you see in here. So although it's kind of jaggy, it goes up and down, it averages out to something like £3 a day, I believe. If I expand this out to the lifetime, when I first started, I think my first video was so the 19th of September was when I first uploaded these Pygame beginner tutorials. And it took about 5 months before the channel got monetized. So to become monetized, I needed to gain 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. So it took about five months to get to that point. And then since then, it's kind of been ticking over and just generating a little bit of income here. But like you can see, I've posted a whole bunch of videos up until that point. So it's never really been the purpose of this channel anyway, or this whole entire project has always been to improve as a coder and generally just to learn to code in different languages. And I found that uploading these videos, at first anyway, it didn't really do much because nobody was really watching them. But as people started to watch and comment and give feedback and interact, it became almost as a motivator for me to continue making more videos. And as a result, it's meant that I've had to keep programming and keep making more games and kind of challenge myself to make better games and learn more as a result. And that's all I really wanted to go through in this video, just to give you an idea of how much a small channel like this makes. So I hope that was interesting, and I promise I'm going to get back to my normal tutorials after this. So thanks for watching.